Hey, my Pilates people, welcome to my channel, Connect and Move. My name is Jessica. Today I have for you a hip love reformer session. Still having some core and ab work in there, but definitely the focus is on the hips today. So I've really been loving all of the hip work that I've been doing in my own body lately, so I'm hoping that you're loving it too. Just one prop that you're gonna need today is your squishy ball, whatever you wanna call it. I'm still deciding if I'm gonna call it a no kneeling hip love session. The only time we will be on our knees is just to get into a quadruped plank, right? So we won't be doing any kneeling work, okay? So springs for today to start. For my balanced body, I have 2 reds and a blue. So for everybody else, it's gonna be 2 mediums and a light spring. It's not my lightest spring, it's like my second to lightest spring. Foot bar is up in your footwork position, headrest is up in your comfortable position. We will be starting with the ball and then using it for probably like the first half of class, and then we'll get rid of it, and then we'll come up and do some standing fun stuff. So once you have all of your things, and I'll meet you lying down. So as always, before we get moving, just make sure that you're centered on your carriage, right? Check the spacing from side to side here. Turn your head from right to left. And then with the ball, let's go ahead and place it between your ankles or your heels, somewhere in that position. And then just rest your feet anywhere on the foot bar, okay? So for this first part, we're just gonna start with some foundational moves, and I'm gonna reference them later in class, so try not to skip these, okay? So I want you to make your hands into this diamond position here, and then go ahead and place your fingers, right, your index finger closer to your pubic bone and your thumbs towards your navel, all right? So we're just gonna imagine our pelvis is like a clock right now. Your neckline is long, we're relaxed. Take a big breath in here. And then on your exhale, I want you to tilt your pelvis back, almost like you were tilting it back towards 12 o'clock. So your navel is your 12 o'clock. And then inhale, rock your pelvis away like you're rocking it towards 6 o'clock. And I want you to go really excessive with it, like really arch the back, stick the booty out, and then exhale, pelvis tilts back, tailbone kind of tucks under towards 12 o'clock. Inhale, rock it away. Let the ribs flare, and then exhale, tilt your pelvis back. You should feel your thumbs kind of draw down, low back presses into the mat. Now I want you to settle somewhere in the center, okay? And now I want you to do this again, but keeping your ribs stable, upper body stays stable, okay? So it's a much smaller movement. Exhale as your pelvis tilts back. Keep your ribs anchored into the mat. And then inhale, rock the pelvis away, and that should be a little bit more of that neutral position, right? Exhale, pelvis tilts back, and then inhale, rock it away. Now the next 2 that you do, try to limit the push into your feet and make it about the abdominals, drawing the pelvis closer to your ribs, and then inhale, rock it away. All right, so 12 o'clock is in that kind of tucked imprint, and then 6 o'clock is back to your neutral, all right? So settle to your neutral spine. Again, heavy ribs, heavy tailbone. Arms are long down by your sides. Every toe pad is connected, and you've got a gentle hug in on the ball. On your next inhale, I want you to press the carriage out and just check in with your pelvis. Make sure you're still at that 6 o'clock neutral, and then bend your knees, come all the way home. Inhale takes you out, and then exhale pulls you home. And for these first few reps, I feel like I know I say this a lot of times, but I don't know about you, but I get cocky sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I got this. And then like I'm moving all from the wrong place. So take these first few reps to really set yourself up. Take note of where your spine is at, what shifts are happening. There's equal weight between right and left, because we all wake up with different bodies every day, right? Depending on stress, the water that we do or don't drink, the food that we eat or don't eat. So always give yourself that time to kind of check in and set yourself up for success. So press the carriage out and hold here. Again, you have the hug in on the ball, and now push the heels under with no shift of that pelvis, and then lift the heels right back up. So wherever that tailbone is at in the mat right now, keep it there as you lower and lift the heels. And I personally notice that when I lift my heels, that's when I want to tuck. So think of the top of the thighs staying really long and almost relaxed here as you do this. Ribs are nice and soft. Good, let's do 3. It's a light spring, so you really have to work to push the heels under. That's 2. And last one, go ahead and lift your heels up, bend your knees, pull yourself all the way home, okay? So you might have to slide the ball up towards your ankles if you're not already there. Let's come on to the arches. Push your heels down and under as your toes wrap up and over, all right? So again, find that 6 o'clock neutral. Arms are actively pressing down and into the mat. We press the carriage out on that inhale. Again, we hug in on the ball, and then exhale, pull yourself home. So I want you to imagine that the ball is not changing shape as we go in and out. And think of the inner edges of your heels reaching under the foot bar and the big toes reaching over in opposition. The neckline is nice and long. Maybe there's a little nod to your chin. Let's do 3. Check in with that pelvis. Again, it's nice and stable at that 6 o'clock neutral. Last one. Bring the carriage in halfway and hold here. All right, talk to your butt crease muscles and say, I need you for these little pulses. Out an inch and in an inch. Still working that pull down on the foot bar. Holding that 6 o'clock neutral. For 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and press it all the way out and then resist to come all the way in. Okay, so now we're gonna take, let's go heels on nice and wide on the foot bar. And I want you to bring the knees together, place the ball between your knees, all right, between your upper thighs. So this move, we're not gonna go full range, okay? So again, find your neutral, arms are long and heavy, and I want you to feel like you're pulling the foot bar apart with your heels and your knees are coming into the ball. All right, you're gonna press the carriage out and then hold on the out. I don't want you to go all the way out. There's a point where you're like, okay, I can feel like my thighs are kind of separating, and pause right here. Can you turn your kneecaps in towards one another? Like they could look right at one another, right in the eyeballs of the knees. And then resist the carriage all the way back in. Keep the hug in on the ball. You're gonna press it out, keep pulling wide on the foot bar, and then think of your kneecaps looking in at one another, and then resist back in. The first few might feel a little weird. Maybe all of them feel weird. But I find that I really have to like focus. And for me, I'm starting to feel my right hip more than my left hip. So I'm gonna just maybe send my focus over to that left thigh a little bit more. So it's kneecaps turning in, big toes looking in, and it should feel like your thigh bones are spiraling in. And maybe even place your hands on your thighs. Maybe even help kind of rotate and spiral them in. Really squeeze the ball as you go for that internal rotation. There we go. And I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel them like really warm up right now. Again, sometimes it takes a couple times. For 3, make sure that back is not like arching and doing funky things. Last one. Now I want you to bring the carriage in halfway, right? Find your halfway point-ish for this. And now we're gonna pulse in on the ball. Knees squeeze in on the ball. Kneecaps go in towards one another. So for me, I'm feeling like some like upper thigh working here. Let's do 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Bring the carriage all the way in. Okay. Ooh. So let's take the ball now. Place it in between your heels. All right, so my knees are gonna go crazy wide right now. My toes are looking away from one another. So this might take some finagling to get into. Again, the carriage is not gonna go all the way out. That's okay, but I want you to work like squeezing in on the ball here. And again, knees are going wide. All right, so let's press the carriage out. and squeeze in on that ball and hold right here. Okay, so the carriage is not all the way out, knees are still bent. I want you to really pull in on the ball while your knees are going wide, and then keep that sensation as you bring the carriage in. Keep sliding in on the carriage. Again, press it out, and then resist back in. So I'm hoping you're feeling some granny panty line muscles kicking on. And maybe like a little stretch on the top of your thighs. I've been playing around with this move a lot lately because it's a lot of work in the hips and it's a deep external rotation. But honestly, like afterwards and the day after, I'm like, oh my goodness, my hips feel so much better. As awkward as it might feel in the moment. All right, so let's do 4 more here. Again, try to limit the movement of your spine. Some of you, it might feel like you're tucking a little bit here. This is 2, really squeeze in on that ball with your heels. And last one, squeeze, 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 and then resist all the way back in. Holy cannoli. Okay, so let's just drop our knees from side to side a little bit here. Did we feel things there? Some things? Maybe things we've never felt before. We're gonna do some amazing, amazing stretches at the end for your hips. So please like follow through this whole shebang to the end. Okay, so make sure your headrest is all the way down, pretty please. And then let's take the ball. Hopefully your hair's not stuck like mine. Let's take the ball between your knees. All right, inch down a little bit here so you've got some space. Let's go heels on, about hip socket distance apart, okay? So keep the hug in on the ball, press down into the arms. I want you to tilt your pelvis back and find your 12 o'clock, like find your deep, deep 12 o'clock, all right? And then before you start to lift the hips up, can you also fire up your butt creases? All right, talk to those butt creases. Use that to now lift your hips up, rolling your hips up, hinge if you need, and then pause at the top. Can you still find your 12 o'clock here with nice soft ribs? Maybe the butt creases could lift up a little bit more. Make sure the ball, right, you're still giving it a good hug. And then stay connected to your butt creases. Torso comes down first. Torso comes down first. Keep your 12 o'clock, keep your 12 o'clock, and then roll all the way down. All right, again, find your 12 o'clock, find your butt creases. They slide up the back of the legs. Up, 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 up. Arms get longer and also heavier, space between chin and chest. And torso goes down before your hips. Torso goes down before your hips. Oh, I tell you what, I heard that cue the other day and it was just amazing. I was like, oh, there it is. There it is, I found it. Roll yourself up again. I don't think we realize how much we like roll down like a brick right there. Right? As opposed to like truly articulating. So torso down first, keep lifting the butt creases up, keep lifting them up and roll all the way down. Lengthen the hips away. Whoo, anybody else's hips are at the party. Roll yourself up. Find the top of your bridge. If you want to take away a base of support, the arms could go up to the ceiling, but wherever your arms are at, we're creating space between chest and your hands. Keep your butt creases lifting up away from the floor. Press the carriage out a little bit and then pull the carriage in. Keep fighting for 12 o'clock. So the temptation here I find for most people is as we go out, the back wants to arch because we want to make this a massive move. So keep your pubic bone going back to your navel. There it is. Tiny but mighty, y'all. Keep the hug in on the ball. Equal weight right into the center of those heels. Anybody else? Butt creases on fire right now. Let's do 2 more. And last one, lift the butt creases up as you go out, squeeze it on the ball more, come all the way in, and then lengthen, torso down before the hips. Yeah, almost lost it. All the way down. Okay, that was fabulous. All right, so let's now take the ball underneath our tailbone And it's not our low back, it's kind of like closer to your butt crease than anything. Okie dokie. So from here, before we lift our feet up, I just want you to feel your ribs draw into the mat, and then once again, find your 12 o'clock. All right, the reason why I did that at the beginning. So I can just reference these and we know where to go. So arms are down, you've got your 12 o'clock. Bring one leg up into tabletop, bring the other leg up to meet it. So it should feel like your low back is drawing into that negative space and you're creating this like hammock sensation with your stomach and your back. All right, now keep your 12 o'clock and just send your right leg out and away. Keep your 12 o'clock and then pull it back in. So maybe the 12 o'clock reference isn't like quite connecting with you. Let me try this cue. Think of your butt creases lifting up off of the ball, especially as your leg goes out. Right? And maybe it's neither. I'm just hesitant to say tuck the pelvis because it can create some tension and compression where I don't want it. All right. Last one here. Keep drawing the ribs down into the mat. Okay, zip the legs up together. And now can you send both legs out, keeping your 12 o'clock, keep your 12 o'clock, and then pull the knees back in. All right, press the legs out. Keep lifting your butt creases up though, and then pull it back in. So obviously the lower the legs go, the harder this is. My low back has been kind of cranky lately, so I'm taking my ranges very small. All right, last one here. And bend the knees back in. Okay, you can always do these with arms hovering, right, to challenge the stability. You do you, okay? Let's go ahead and just kick the legs up and then bend the knees. Again, keep your 12 o'clock. All right, now kick the legs up and hold right here. Just check in with your neck and your shoulders, make sure there's no tension here. My left leg is gonna lower down as my right leg pulls back. And think of that low belly pulling down to make space for that right leg. Now I'm gonna open my legs out to the side. They're gonna kind of windmill around. Now my left leg is closer to my body, my right leg is down, and now bring the legs together. We're gonna reverse. So left leg comes in, right leg comes down. They're gonna helicopter around the sides of the room and then zip back up, all right? Let's keep with this, just alternating and just see how stable can you keep your pelvis? Can you keep it at that 12 o'clock the entire time? And the more you think of drawing your low abdomen down, away from your upper thighs, the more you're gonna feel this in your stomach rather than like all quads. I mean, your legs are still working for sure here, but let's just try to even out the work. Let those legs spiral in the sockets. Last one. Think of making the legs longer as they go across the room and then zip the legs up. Now I want you to find a little Pilates V. So pin the heels together. Still think of butt creases lifting up the back of your legs. Bend your knees in towards your shoulders. Now I want you to give me an exhale, 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 and then inhale, push the legs back up as the ribs go down. Exhale, knees come in. Exhale, 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 exhale. And then inhale, push the legs back up. I want you to imagine like your feet are in like straps or in resistance. So feel your butt creases fire up as you push the legs up, and then exhale, pull the knees in. Inhale, push the legs up. Exhale, draw the belly down as the knees come in closer. Let's do one more here. Exhale, empty the lungs, empty the lungs, empty the lungs. It's also your stomach massage. Now hold your legs up there. Just hold them up there. Try not to fall over on me. Send your right leg out to the side. Left leg stays still, and then pull the legs back to center. Left leg goes out. Right leg stays still and back to center. You want to really challenge yourself. Take the arms away from the mat. And then back to center. Oh, there's always one side. Don't fall off. Keep holding your 12 o'clock. One more each side. Feel like your toes are scraping the ceiling. And back to center. Awesome. Just hug your knees in. Beautiful. Take your feet down. Okay, take the ball out. Shake it out, kind of swish the hips from side to side. Let's take the ball back between your ankles. Stretch your legs out over the foot bar here. So you can have your knees bent, you can have your legs straight, but I do want you to be pressing your legs down into the foot bar here. Just reach your arms up to the sky. Take a big breath in. And then on your exhale, I want you to lift the weight of your head up. Grab on if you need to. Climb yourself up, up, up. And just get a stretch at the top. So maybe you even do like a little arched back, a little round, just to feel a little bit different movement, right? Because we were in that kind of hammock position for a while. All right, so now I want you to switch your springs. For balanced body, I'm gonna place a yellow spring on. Let me take that back. I have a red and a yellow spring on. Take all the other springs off. Red and a yellow spring. For everybody else, that is a medium spring and your lightest spring. Okay, so let's go ahead now, lie back down. Oops, without taking your foot bar with you. And place your toes on the foot bar. I'm gonna inch closer to the end of my mat so my hands can really grip onto the edge of the mat here, okay? So either you're in parallel, little Pilates V, doesn't matter. All right, I want you to hold on with your arms, with your hands, and then just press the carriage out. I moved my foot bar. And then just hold here, all right? Let's go ahead now and curl your head, neck, and shoulders up. Look down your center line, okay? Can you still find a little bit of that 6 o'clock pelvis, but try to press your low back into the mat? And if you're like me and you're like, okay, girl, that is just not happening, find a hybrid of both, all right? And then just hold here for a second. My elbows are bent. I'm thinking of pulling my chest through the arms, and I'm just looking down at the ball, down at the midsection. That's all I'm doing. And I'm just holding here. Really think of bending the spine, and then just lower all the way back down. Bend your knees, come all the way home, okay? So this is a lot on the back because I'm really trying to get into that place that's like kind of stuck for a lot of us. So just bear with me, we won't be here long, okay? So you're gripping onto the end of the mat, press the carriage out, and let's go ahead and peel the head, neck, and shoulders up off the mat, all right? I want you to try to get your low back into the mat with your 6 o'clock pelvis. Again, find your happy medium, okay? Try to lift your upper body off of the mat. So my low ribs, I can feel them. They're barely into the mat. And just hold here for a second. Just hold. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling my stomach. Think crown of the head on the ceiling. And now can you just lower the heels and lift the heels? Do not let that pelvis shift. Lower and lift. So I have to think of kind of sticking my booty out a little bit here. Let's do 2. And last one, lift the heels, lower everything down. Holy cannoli, that's up in the belly. Bend your knees, bring the carriage home. Okay, take a moment. All right, again, I know for some of you this might be really tough in the back. It is tough for me, but it's gonna feel so much better afterwards. All right, so one more variation here, I promise. Grab onto the ends here of your carriage and then go and press it out again. All right, so again, elbows are gonna bend wide, just like our rowing here. Keep pushing into the foot bar. Low back into the mat, chest is nice and up, head is on the ceiling, all right? Take a big breath in here. On your exhale, can you bend your knees, pull the carriage in, and then inhale, press it out. So keep your tailbone heavy. So it's not quite a tuck. It's almost like 6 o'clock pelvis, but with low back into the mat. Exhale, 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 exhale. Whew. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Keep squeezing in on the ball. Inhale back out. Can we do 2 more? Think nice broad upper back, wide elbows. Can you curl up a little bit higher? Press it out, and then lower everything all the way down. Oh, and then bring it all the way in. That was fun, wasn't it? Okay, we're gonna roll over onto our side now. Keep your ball. Ball's gonna go into your headrest. All right, so same springs on. The ball is gonna be your headrest if you want it. You, of course, don't have to use it. All right, so lying down on your side. I know you were probably wondering, okay, this is a lot more ab work than I wanted. Give me some hip love. All righty, so top foot. I'm on my right side, by the way. My left foot is on the foot bar here. All right, and then all I want you to do is just press the carriage out. Let's get yourself sorted here. Try to find a comfortable position with your bottom arm. I don't care where it's at. Top hand, I don't care where it's at either. I like mine on my hip because it gives me a lot of feedback. So toes are pointing forward. My bottom knee is just pressing down into the carriage. Now for most of us right here, I want you to think of rolling your top hip forward more than what you think. All right, now I already feel my side booty is like, okay, I'm here. What do you need from me? Because I don't have a lot of time, all right? So make your top leg so long. Think of it almost like being connected at your ribs and then stretching your waist that long too. Now keep the length in your waist, keep the lightness through the ribs that you just created, and now bend your knee. Think of your knee driving forward, and I want you to keep your heel down. So for me, this is all I've got. And then press it right back out. When your leg goes straight, think of your back of your thigh going back and your hip going forward. And now bend your knee. Make sure it's looking right forward. Mine was not. And then think thigh back, pelvis forward, or hip bone forward. So there's that butt crease muscle. At least I'm feeling it. You can even put your hand there and just say, yeah, this is what I need from you. So top of the thigh lengthens, hip point goes forward. Anybody else feel that? Make sure your low back is nice and long and open. Now go ahead and press it out and hold right here. All right. Again, think of your waistline lengthening. The leg is attached at the rib. We're defying anatomy here. And now I want you to lift the heel and then lower the heel. Lift the heel and then lower the heel. Remember, your thigh is going back behind you, but your hip point is going forward. And that did it, y'all. I feel like my left hip is saying, okay, I'm done. Let's do 3 and 2 and 1. Now keep your heel lifted. I don't care if it's high or low, just keep it lifted. And then bend your knee. Probably can go in a lot further here. And then press it out. Still think thigh back, hip point forward. So hips are nice and stable. Torso is stable. Only thing is moving is obviously the carriage and your leg. And remember, the leg is attached at your ribs. So we got to make the leg long the entire time. Let's do 2. And last one, press it out. I want you to lower the heel down. Bring the carriage in to the point where you're like, okay, if I go in 1 millimeter further, my heel's gonna lift. Hold right here. Now lift your heel and lower the heel. Lift it and lower it. Still think of your hip coming forward. So I have to go out a little bit. Ugh. Still think hip forward and almost as if your thigh was about to go back, almost like a pendulum swinging. Are we feeling this guy right here? Maybe even a little bottom obliques. I'm not counting. Let's do 2 more. Ooh, last one. Heel lifts. Press it all the way out. One more time. Press it out. Get longer, get longer, get longer. Bends the knee, come all the way home. Okay, let's see if I can remember all that for the other side. We flip over. Every side is different. Okie dokie. So in order to give yourself as much like movement in the leg, your foot is like all the way forward here. So press it all the way out. Let's get yourself sorted. Shoulders are stacked, hips are stacked. So again, think of your hip going forward, thigh going back. And there's that like long thigh that we were kind of playing with for footwork. And then heel stays down. And then press it out. Well, this doesn't feel big on this side either. Try your best to keep the heel down. And then play around with the idea, like as your knee bends, almost feel like you're sliding the foot back, or like, yeah, back on the foot bar. And again, really work hip going forward, thigh going back. There it is. There it is, ladies and gents. Remember, the leg is an extension from your ribs. So make sure the ribs aren't caving and lifting and going up and down. We're keeping our torso stable while our leg is moving. Oh, this side just burns out so much faster. Holy cannoli. Anybody else? Anybody else? Let's do 2. Last one, hold here. We lift the heel and then lower the heel. So all this is what we did for footwork, right? So when we're lying on our back, and I was saying, okay, as we're lifting and lowering, try not to let the pelvis move or tuck and untuck. So see if you can find a little bit of that like 6 o'clock pelvis here. Oh my goodness gracious. And think of the weight going right through the center of the balls of the feet. So even here, we're not rolling out and in. Now I want you to keep the heel lifted, maybe soften the ribs a little bit more, relax the neck. And now we bend the knee and then press it out. Still feel like you're sliding the foot behind you in a way, because there's your forward propulsion. Those of you who run, or I don't know, just walk. Oh my goodness. Kneecap is facing forward. Remember, as you're bringing the carriage in, think of the knee and even the hip coming forward just a bit. And it stays forward as the thigh goes back. Oh my gosh. And we have a whole nother series after this. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Just tell me that you're struggling with me. Tell me that you're just feeling things here. Now bring the carriage into that halfway point. I'm sorry, lower the heel down. Now bring the carriage into the point where you're like, okay, my heel really wants to lift. And now lift the heel and lower the heel. Goodness. So it's a point and it's a flex to dig that heel down. Again, waistline is long. Neck is as relaxed as you can possibly keep it. Oh my gosh, for 4 and 3. Hang in there with me, y'all. 2. And last one, press it all the way out and then bring it all the way back in. Oh, that was terrible. Terrible, I tell you. Okay, let's come up to seated. Place your feet on the floor. Okay, take the ankle over the knee, figure 4 stretch. And then when you're here, even if you're lying down in your figure 4 stretch, I just want you to maybe let your body move, let the legs move from side to side, let your body come forward, round, twist, and just see where you need to go. Okay, switch sides. And just breathe into those tight places. Okay. Medium spring is coming off, foot bar is coming down. We are done with our ball. We do not need it. Chuck it off to the side. All right, so I have my lightest spring on. You do want your lightest spring on, so that's my yellow spring. So knee pad if you need it. We're not gonna be kneeling too long here. I'm gonna start with my legs zipped up together. My hands are gonna be on my platform here, and they're shoulder width distance apart. Take them wider if you need, okay? So legs are zipped up, my heels are pushing back, and I'm lifting my chest up away from the floor as much as I can here. All I want you to do is just hover the knees. Just hover. And I want you to feel like the balls of your feet are digging in and pulling the carriage into the stopper. That should make things a little bit harder. Just hold. Hold for 3, 2, 1, and then lower down. Maybe shake out the hands. I promise we're not going to be here on the hands too much longer. So if you've got this like sticky platform here at the end, it's not my favorite, but like I said, I'm not here for long. All right, hug your legs, hug your inner ankle bones together here. Shift back forward and then hover the knees. And now we're gonna bear crawl ourselves forward so we push the carriage back. Take your feet to the very, very edge here and just hold. And then let's do a little flex and a point. It's not gonna be much. Keep lifting up through the base of the ribs and pulling the shoulder blades away from the spine. Last one. And now let's bear crawl ourselves back, 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 really digging through the balls of the feet. Can we bring the carriage all the way in? All the way in, tap the knees down, lift the knees up, walk yourself in, or walk yourself out, walk the carriage out. All right, find the toes onto the edge. Step your left foot down into the well. Do what you gotta do to get around the spring here, okay? So I'm gonna take my hands up a little bit higher, maybe like on my foot bar. I've got a soft bend to my left knee, and I'm rounded. So find your 12 o'clock, all right? Ideally, I would like your left knee to be over the center of your foot. All right, so again, keeping your 12 o'clock, can you press the carriage back a little bit and pull it under? I want you to deepen your 12 o'clock as the carriage goes back and pulls under. If you can do this with no hands, I like my hands right here on the top of my butt cheeks. Emphasis on butt, it was a big B. And I like to kind of slide or traction my cheeks down so I can really feel my 12 o'clock. And I just got a nice stretch in my back, right? Let's do 2. And last one, bring the carriage in and now find more of a flat back, maybe even like a baby arch. I'm gonna still keep my hands here. You wanna take the arms out, keep them in front, you do you, but still think of that kind of tractioning of the tailbone long and away. And I'm still thinking of like right butt crease muscle working hard as I press the carriage out, but my standing leg is stable. Yes. Again, waistline nice and long, tripod connection through your standing foot. Good, let's do 3 and 2 and 1. Now press the carriage back. Your back leg might go straight. I'm gonna keep it at a bend. So we're gonna have to pivot on that back foot, all right? From here, again, do whatever you like with the arms. I'm gonna twist towards you. So now I'm really opening up my hips, and then I'm gonna come back to center. I'm gonna try to keep the carriage as still as I can. And then back to center. Again, do whatever you like with the arms. So I'm really thinking of kind of closing the left side of my cheek, if that makes sense. And then back to center. Right, this is our airplane, so I'm opening up the front of my hips to you, and back to center. Oh yeah, I like this one. I like this one. Even though I probably look really awkward doing it. Let's do 2. That standing leg is working hard, y'all. Last one. Open, 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 and then back to center. Let's take the hands back down to that platform. Step your feet back up. Let's walk the carriage in. Walk the carriage in. All the way in. Tap the knees down. Lift the knees up. Walk the carriage back, back, back. Now my left toes are gonna stay on. My right knee is gonna come down. I'm gonna have to move a little bit because my spring is in my way. All right, soft bend to my right knee. Ideal it's over the center of your foot. Keep your hands down for a second, and then let's do those little pumps out and in. And as I'm doing this, I'm trying to think, maybe I have done this with you guys a couple weeks ago. We're just now adding in that airplane. So if you'd like, if you're comfortable with it, hands come onto your upper butt cheeks, and we're really working that 12 o'clock. So again, lift your pubic bone up to your navel. And even though we're rounded, we are lifted. And standing leg is stable. And that left knee, again, pendulum just sound like it makes sense to me. I'm thinking of that knee kind of swinging down and then back. All right. Now, if you'd like, if you can, we're going to come up to that more of that flat back, maybe a little bit of an extension. Still with this kind of forward lean. I know I didn't say it on the other side, but the more forward you lean, like forward, the more I think you're going to feel it in your right hip. Or maybe that right hip is just, for me, it's just kind of cranky. Let's do 3 and 2 and 1. Now we hold the carriage out. I'm just gonna have to resituate my foot here. Right hip on fire. All right, now we pivot. So really make this movement come from your right hip. And then back to center. Oh my goodness. Anybody else? Keep moving. You just ignore me for a second. I'm thinking of this hip kind of closing right here, finding my granny panty muscles, and then back to center. Wow. Keep that carriage still if you can, and then back to center. This side feels so awkward. Anybody else? Oh my goodness. I might have to put my hands down for this. That whole right leg is on fire. Allow yourself to pivot on that back foot. Oh my goodness. Let's do 3 more because it's good for us. 3. Wow. And 2. Last one. Stable bottom knee. Back to center. Bring the carriage in. Take your spring off. Press your carriage all the way back. Get it out of your way. We're done with it. Place your foot bar all the way up or in your footwork position. Okay. All right. So let's take your right foot up onto the foot bar. If this is too high, either drop your foot bar down or you can take your foot down to your platform. Okay. So little variation on ballet stretches here. Ideally right now, my right leg's gonna be straight. And then I'm gonna think of that right hip drawing down. And right here is a stretch, right? I'm trying to lift up tall. You can do whatever you want with your hands, but now I want you to bend into your front knee, pull down on the foot bar, back heel stays down, and then press yourself forward. Your back leg, there's some options. You're either in a turnout or you're parallel. But I want the heel to be down. You can always take your hands behind your head. Last one here. Really work the pull down on the foot bar. And now go to straight legs. All right, and then from here, I want you to round up and over. Keep reaching your right sits bone down to the floor. And then stack back up. Now, as you round forward, can you find a little bit of that like 12 o'clock, a little bit of that pubic bone lifting up? You can always have your arms reaching forward. You can always grab onto your leg and then walk yourself back up. Last one here. Maybe walk down the leg just like our tree and then stack right back up. Okay, now I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna face away from you. So again, standing foot can be turned out, it can be parallel, it's whatever makes you happy, but I do want you to think of your right hip coming more forward and your tailbone being heavy. All right, I'm still kind of on the balls of my feet. From here, I'm gonna bend into that right knee. I'm gonna shift my hips forward, towards the foot bar, and then back to center. So hip shift to the right. So right here in this bent knee, I'm gonna take my arm and I'm gonna press my knee back and my upper body's gonna twist just a little bit to the left. And then maybe find a little bit of that 12 o'clock here. Hello, there's the stretch I need. And then come back to center. And if any of these cues don't make sense, right, do what you gotta do to find a stretch, as long as you're finding some type of like hip opening, inner thighs, something stretch here. Last one. Really lean into that bent knee. Oh, that feels good. Okay, so now let's keep the legs straight. Let's do that. So keep both legs straight. I'm gonna do this with my arms out to the side here. I'm gonna twist towards my right leg. And then I'm gonna just round up and over. And I'm gonna really think of that left side, my back side getting longer, and my left hand reaching towards my right foot. Oh my goodness. And then carefully just kind of unravel, come back up. So there's kind of this like flow here of like side bend to twist to reach. Again, make it feel good. I'm getting this amazing stretch on my like right hamstring. Oh my goodness, it feels so good. And then unravel back up. You can do this with your hands behind your head. Up and over. Keep lifting the ribs off of your thigh. That'll just help deepen the stretch. And then unravel yourself all the way back up. Okay, might have to inch a little bit closer to the foot bar this time. I'm now gonna pivot and I'm gonna face my risers or my tower. So I've got a hook of my right foot onto the foot bar here. I'm gonna come up to standing and I am gonna push my right knee down to the floor and drop my tailbone. So maybe find a hair of 12 o'clock, not like crazy 12 o'clock. And what I want you to just find here is just a thigh stretch, just a right thigh stretch. Feel free to move forward or back if you need. Feel free to hold on. Maybe you like reach back for the foot bar here. That might deepen the stretch. In fact, let's do this for everybody. So everybody scoot back towards your foot bar where you can take your left hand on and now reach your right arm up and over. Just getting a good stretch. Keep trying to hug the knees together. And then we stack back up. Let's carefully take the foot off. Let's do the other side. All right. So foot on, wherever you've got it. Okay, so right from the get-go, I want you to think of your left hip going back and your right hip going forward a little bit. And now let's do that bend into the knee. I shift forward. I'm trying to keep my back relatively flat here and then back out. It's almost like I'm trying to keep my head in line with my ribs, in line with my hip, in line with my foot. You might even get a stretch in the back of that ankle. You know, I used to hate these. I mean, I still kind of do. But here I feel like it's much more manageable than the ladder barrel. Couple more here. I know we did a lot on that other side. Last one. All right, so try to find stable hips, stable legs, and then we do our spine stretch forward, up and over. Lift the ribs, feel that left hip draw down the side, the inside of that right leg. And then back up. All right, you can do fancy stuff with the arms here. The hands can be behind the head. I like the hands behind the head because it reminds me to lift my head up. And that for me deepens the stretch. Let's do one more. Up and over, find a little bit of that 12 o'clock here. There it is. And then we stack back up. I'm now gonna pivot. I'm gonna face you. Again, do whatever you'd like with the hands. I'm gonna bend into that knee and I'm gonna press that arm. And I'm gonna think of twisting to the right a little bit, even though I probably look square. Oh, that is needed, y'all. So it's almost like this left knee is trying to go behind my left shoulder. That's what I'm thinking of doing. I don't know about you, but I'm shaking a little bit going into this stretch. And of course, this right leg is straight. Keep that right pinky toe down and then come back to center. All right, sorry, my long-legged people, right? You might have to do this around the other side because I'm hitting my reformer here. So let's do that kind of side bend up and over, and then we kind of spiral. Maybe you even grab onto the leg and just deepen the twist or the reach. And then we unravel and then come back up. Oh, I feel so graceful doing this, but boy, oh boy, it feels so good. If this is all in your knee right now, just have a soft bend, right? Soft bend. Oh, I just got a pop. And again, we unravel. Still think of like pubic bone lifting up and tailbone heavy. Let's do one more here. Keep lifting up through the ribs so we're not just caving and sinking. push into that back foot. And then we carefully unravel. Let's kind of inch, oh so gracefully, closer to our foot bar. I'm gonna now pivot around. So my foot has got a strong hooking there on the foot bar. And again, my tailbone is heavy, pubic bone is forward and up. And then just breathe here. You can like do a little forward and back. Think knees hugging in. And then maybe hands come back. Keep your right hand on. If you're taking this option, your left arm is going to come up and over. Think left knee reaching down to the floor. Big stretch, big breath in. And then on your exhale, we come back up. Hand comes down. Well, that felt good. There was a lot of stuff in between there, but that ending, I'm kind of digging that. So let me know what you thought. Let me know what you felt as always. And if you're enjoying this, all this hip love. All right. I appreciate you guys. Thanks.